Alrighty, so today we're going to be talking about the global environmental costs of China's thirst for milk. Essentially, this article talks about China's demand for milk consumption and how it's been increasing over time. And the article poses the question of if China should have an internal domestic milk production system or one that's international and China actually imports milk into the country. So, with the domestic solution for China, there would have to be increases in animal feed imports. The greenhouse gas emissions would actually probably increase by 35% since 2010, and land use would also increase by 32% since 2010. And if we consider importing milk in, the problems that we kind of highlighted with the domestic production would transfer over to other countries, namely those that are currently leading milk producers like New Zealand, the European Union, and the United States. And in addition, things like land usage and gas emissions would still be a problem there. Therefore, a good solution would be some type of an environmentally conscious plan so that the Chinese domestic production of milk would be more sustainable for the dairy industry here. Now, when we delve deeper into milk production's impact in China, we actually know that milk trade is going to increase over the next few decades, and this is a direct correlation to the population growth in China as well as the increase in wealth and GDP there. Therefore, milk is a commodity that is extremely valuable to China, as China was actually the number one milk importer in 2010. But we do have to look at for how China will deal with this thirst for milk. Some things to look at are the environmental impacts like climate change, loss of species, and things of that nature. So when we look at the article's purpose and the way it's set up, it's actually looking at how milk consumption is making an impact in China and if it should go this domestic or this importation route. So first of all, the article looks at the factors that are used to predict milk consumption, and it uses this equation that total milk will equal population times average milk per person. Then when looking at the study setup, it's comparing milk importation from countries like New Zealand, the US, and the EU. And it's looking at how resources like feed, land, and water, as well as environmental factors like greenhouse gases, nitrogen, phosphorus, emissions, and things of that nature are playing a role when we're doing a domestic production style as well as something that's being imported in, and we're extrapolating this information to 2010 as the milk demand increases. We're also looking at indicators such as herd level indicators, economic indicators like the GDP, and environmental indicators to show how milk consumption and production is impacting China. And finally, this article really is trying to find a sustainable solution for the country. So when looking at the overall vision for China's thirst for milk as a whole, the article really does agree that China needs to revamp its current milk production system. It's unreasonable to really rely on these other countries and reap their resources like land, as we kind of mentioned in the abstract and introduction of this presentation. So some things that the article does pose are some alternative options like soybeans and using soybean production, to create soy milk and things of that nature for the country. In addition, the article talks about supplying things like forage for the dairy cattle to create a proper grazing system, because this is something that's definitely needed in the country, as a large portion of the land is actually, not completely good for farming and things of that nature. So having a good solution for the land usage in China is definitely something to consider. In addition, the article does propose that we do need to rely on legislation in the country that ensures top quality milk production. And some of these things are actually upcoming, within the last 10 years or so, namely with the 2015 food security law in China. So ultimately, the fact that we're creating these solutions is definitely a good thing as we move forward, and China really competes with urbanization and increases its milk consumption over the future decades. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts and opinions about this topic in class tomorrow. Thank you.